Hey guys, welcome back to The Rolling Artisan. My name's Diani, and if you're new here, this channel is all about my journey to turn an old bus into my very own tiny house on wheels. I've never done anything like this before, so I'm learning it all as I go. If you like my videos, please give them a thumbs up, and if you want to support my channel, please hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all the future videos. So I've spent the last 2 weeks pretty much working solidly on the bus, finishing the job of cleaning up the inside of the frame. So I had to do a lot of work to scrape off the old bits of rubber and silicone and Laminex and stuff that was stuck to the framework inside. It took a lot to get the stuff off. I mean, there is still some on there, but I don't think it's going to be in the way of the framing and the wall linings and things that I want to put on. So I've done as much as I can, so I cleaned all that up. After I did that, I went over all the bits of metal that I could see in the bus and coated them with Penetrol, which is a rust proofing agent, and metal primer. So hopefully the inside of the bus is as kind of rust proofed as I can possibly get it. So come on, I'll show you what I've done. So this is what the inside of my bus looks like now. It's certainly a lot cleaner than it was. I've managed to get pretty much all of the carpet that was running along these sides of the ceiling off. There was carpet all across the back there. I've ripped all that off. There was also carpet all above here, above the driver's cab area, so I've got most of that off. All the bits of rubbish that were stuck to the inside of the frame, particularly on the roof, I've managed to get most of that off. There's still some bits on there, but they're not really going to interfere with the framing and insulation and stuff I want to put up there. So I'm happy to just leave it as it is. And all the red bits that you can see are the bits that I've painted with the Penetrol and the metal primer. So all of this new steel that went in now hopefully is pretty well protected from any future rust. Hopefully the bus is a lot better sealed now than it was before, so hopefully there won't be too many leaks, but if I do get some in the future, this will just help to protect the steel from rust. So this is the stuff I use to paint the frame. There's 2 sorts of Penetrol here. So basically the idea of Penetrol is that it's an oil-based product, and it's got a very low surface tension. So when you paint it or spray it onto a metal surface, it kind of finds its way into every little crack and hole in that surface, and then forms like a protective, almost a rubbery sort of coating over it. And the idea is that that coating prevents any oxygen or water getting in, which are the 2 things that are required for rust to develop. So it's really good for treating rusty metal, which of course makes it perfect for my bus. So yeah, this is what I've used. So I did 2 things. I used this stuff here, which is a spray, and it comes with this, I don't know if you can see that, it comes with a thin tube that you can poke into the end of the nozzle, so you can really direct a very fine stream of the stuff into holes. So what I did was I went around with this first, and I used this to spray into every little hole that I could find in the steel. So places where previous rivets or screws had been drilled into the metal, I stuck this in and gave it a good squirt around to try and coat as much of the inside of the steel as I could. And yeah, all the little tight corners and places where I wouldn't be able to get the brush in that well, I sprayed with this. And I basically used 2 cans of this stuff to do as much as I could inside the bus. And then I used this, which is a liquid in the tin here, and this, you can either paint this on as pure Penetrol, or you can mix it with a metal primer. So I firstly painted the frame just with this, so 100% Penetrol, gave the frame a really liberal coat of that all over, and then left that to dry for a couple of days, and then came back and did another coat, mixing about 1 part of this to 2 parts primer. So, and then I tipped a bit more of this in. So I probably had about 40% penetrol in the paint mix, and then I went over the frame with that. So, and basically the reason for mixing it with the primer was mostly so that I could see where I'd been, because the penetrol dries clear. It's a bit hard to tell if you've missed any little patches or any spots. So by mixing it with the primer, I was able to make sure that I definitely covered all of the surfaces. And then I went around most of it with 2 coats of the primer mix. So it's had really good coating on the inside of this stuff. So hopefully that's enough. I mean, obviously there's going to be parts of the frame that I can't get to, you know, so I don't know how useful or how much of a difference doing this will actually make, but, you know, it makes me feel a little bit better and gives me a bit more peace of mind. So, you know, it was worth the money. I can't remember how much. I think this was about $25 for the tin, and I used about 1.5 of these, so about 1.5 litres of this, and as I said, two cans of that, and that was about $17-18 a can. So hopefully I've done a reasonable job with trying to prevent any significant rust from developing down the track. So I've done basically all I'm going to do in regards to stripping the interior of the bus and cleaning up the inside. So this is the space now that I have to work with. It's essentially a blank canvas. So I'll also come around the front of the bus, around this other side, and show you some of the work I did on the outside this past week. So first thing to show you is I actually took one of the films off the panels on the side, so it looks nice and shiny and white, so you get a sense of what it will look like when all of that the rest of that film is peeled back. I'm leaving most of it on there for now just because it does help to protect it from scratches and things while I'm still working on the bus. It looks pretty good underneath all the tape, so I'm looking forward to the day when I can peel all that off. But anyway, I'll show you what I've done. So the panels that the guy put on the outside, obviously where 2 panels meet there's a join, and some of the joins just weren't very well sealed, like there were gaps in them, and like one of them was so big you could actually see the inside of the bus through the gap, so clearly not very well sealed, and definitely an entry point for water, which I wasn't at all happy about. So I went around and just put silicone in and over the joins to seal them up properly, and this was actually my first attempt at using Sika silicone, and it's really hard to work with, so it was a bit tricky, but given that it's my first attempt, I was really happy with how it turned out. So this is like one of the joins that I've done here, so I just ran a bead of silicone all up the join to make sure it got into the join, and then well and truly covered the outside. I mean, obviously it's noticeable, it does stick out from the surface, but the Sika's supposed to be able to be sanded and painted over. So, you know, when I finish the bus and I come to do the paint job on the outside, I should just be able to sand over that so it's a bit smoother and flush with the panels, and just paint over it, and you won't hardly even notice it. But, you know, I'm just happy about the fact that it should now be properly sealed from the elements. The other thing I did was I just fixed up the seal on this driver's window. It actually wasn't leaking before, but in the process of taking the old panels off to fix the rust underneath the frame under here, they damaged the original seal that was around this window, so they had to replace it with another one, and they actually just used a bit of rubber from the old windows that was still in good condition, so it doesn't like fit exactly to this window, and when it came back from the repairer, it hadn't been properly stuck down, so this corner wasn't stuck at all around here, and was actually not even sitting flat on the panel. It was sort of sticking up a bit, and you could easily just lift it, and it was like a big hole straight into the side of the bus. So again, really easy for water to get down in there, and the back of it along here where the join was too hadn't been sealed very well. So yeah, so I just went around again with some black Sika. I used a marine quality sealant that's got a bit of flexibility in it, as well as being waterproof. So hopefully with the movement of the bus, this will work really well. So yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, it's not pretty, but you know, if you look at this bit up here, That bit was actually done by the repairer and it's pretty scruffy, so I'm pretty happy with mine in comparison. As again, given that this is the first time I've ever used this stuff, and it's not easy to work with, so you know, I'm happy with that. From a distance it looks good, and again, I can probably touch that up when I come to paint the bus, but for now I just wanted to make sure that this rubber was properly stuck on and that it wasn't going to leak. And we did actually have a big storm here the other night. I don't think it leaked, so I'm pretty happy again with that. Yeah, so I do still want to go and seal the joins between the black panels on the top. But in order to do that, I can show you here, I have to, in order to get to the join properly, I have to peel back the film from either side. So I don't really want to do that with the black panels at the moment, because I just want to leave that film in place until the windows are in, because I'm going to have to get up there, you know, with cutting tools and scaffolding and stuff, and I just want to protect it from scratches as much as possible. Once the windows are in, I can take all that off and I'll be able to properly seal up the joins. Most of these are sealed up okay from the inside anyway, so they should be okay for now, hopefully. So I'll show you this as well. This is the stuff I use to seal the joins between the panels and also the rubber of the driver's window. It comes in white and black, so which is obviously handy for me because I was able to use the white on the joins between the white panels, and the black I used to do the window seals. And I'll use this when I come to seal the joins between the black panels as well. Sikaflex comes in a whole different range of varieties depending on what you're using it for. This particular one is number 291 and it's a marine adhesive sealant. So, you know, it's designed to be used on boats, so it's waterproof. It's got some flexibility, so, you know, for when the bus moves and the side panels are flexing a little bit, this should be able to cope with it and not split apart and wreck the seal. And I'll just share a little tip that I learnt from someone else's YouTube video about how to store this stuff, because, you know, obviously it comes in this size cartridge. I've used a fair bit of the white, but the black I've only used a little bit, and because it is, you know, a little bit expensive, you don't just want to chuck out, you want it to try and keep it as much as you can before you need it next. The tip was to get a nail, or in my case I've used a screw because I just had an old one lying around, or something similar that's just, you know, a little bit bigger than the size of the hole in the nozzle, and you push it right down as far as you can into that. Sometimes, you know, after you've done that, it'll sort of come out a little bit as the sticker continues to come out. Like you can see that with the white here. Like the tip of the nozzle is actually about there. But that doesn't matter. And then next time when you come to use it, you just pull that out. And it may be a little tricky to get out, but I didn't have any trouble when I came back to reuse this one. Just had to get some pliers and pull it out, and then give it a little bit of a squirt, and it's good to go again. So it's a really good trick for keeping it stored, and so that the tube doesn't go off. It won't keep forever. It'll probably only keep for a month or two, I'm not sure like that, but anyway, that'll be good. I'll be able to use that again when I've done the windows and I'm ready to do the rest of the ceiling. Yeah, it's looking much better on the inside, and I'm super excited now because I feel like I've finished the demolition stage of the bus and the cleaning up, which was a massive job, and now it's pretty much ready to start building stuff.